Where do you usually watch TV programs/shows?
I usually watch TV shows in the sitting room, living room, obviously, because that's where my family keeps the TV. Besides, when I watch any TV show, the chances are that other members of my family are doing the same, and this living room just happens to be spacious enough to accommodate all of my family members.
What's your favorite TV program/show?
I have a number of favorite TV shows, but the one I really like the most is The Daily Talk Show, which is a political talk show. I like it because I think that politics is at the center of everything in this world. Besides, I am passionate about writing on political issues in our local newspapers, and watching those shows help me remain more informed on the current political situation in my country.
Are there any programs/shows you don't like watching?
I hope that I'm not really offending here, but I don't exactly like the wrestling show because I find them a bit too physically violent for my taste. Besides, I don't really see any value in watching a show like wrestling that uses vulgar and foul language every now and then. Besides, I don't like some reality TV shows which seem quite banal and low standard.
Do you think you will watch more TV or fewer TV programs in the future?
I think that I will watch fewer TV shows in the future, primarily because life is becoming very busy and hectic. Besides, most shows on TV are becoming too commercially motivated without offering any real or educational value for them. I would like to read more books than watch TV programs in the future.
What kinds of jobs do young people not want to do in your country?
Well, it varies from person to person, and it also depends on what kinds of educational qualifications one possesses. However, to be a bit more specific, jobs which involve working in the fields and farms, teaching jobs, truck drivers' jobs, maintenance jobs, behavioral therapist jobs, librarians' jobs, and other jobs which don't pay them enough are not preferred by young people in my country. Most of the fresh graduates have high hopes and better expectations for their careers. So young people in my country often feel like avoiding jobs which are not adequately rewarding, prestigious, and promising.
Is money always the most important thing when choosing a job?
From where I stand, I'm pretty confident to say that money isn't and shouldn't be always the most important thing when choosing a job, because money simply can't buy everything in life. For example, if our job pays a lot of money but doesn't offer the job satisfaction of doing something significant in order to make a difference in the lives of people around us, then we wouldn't probably enjoy doing the job for too long. Besides, if a job doesn't offer the opportunity for growth, money matter would probably be irrelevant at certain points also.
Do you agree that many people nowadays are under pressure to work longer hours and take less holiday?
Yes, I do agree that many people nowadays are under tremendous pressure to work longer hours and take fewer holidays, primarily because of the stiff competition from competitor companies and organizations. This is so also because more and more young but unemployed and qualified professionals are posing threats to job security, and many companies are just taking advantage of this vulnerability among their employees. Finally, some people are under pressure to work longer hours because they need to earn extra money in order to keep up with the rising cost of living.
What is the impact on society of people having a poor work-life balance?
Unfortunately, having a poor work-life balance is never really good for society, as it creates some kinds of restlessness in our lives. For example, if a person is working too much and not spending enough time with his or her family, then he or she is risking a weaker family bond, which would only get worse over time. Besides, if a person works long hours, then the chances are that they will become mentally depressed due to the lack of quality social interaction, which will only result in poor productivity and efficiency. A prosperous society relies on its happy and productive members, and the poor work-life balance of its members disrupts the harmony of such a society.
Could you recommend some effective strategies for governments and employers to ensure people have a good work-life balance?
Sure. The main strategy which comes to my mind is that the government can always announce tax incentives, i.e., tax cuts, for companies that encourage their employees to work fewer hours. In the same way, it can offer some extra financial help for those who are struggling to keep up with the rising cost of living in the form of rationing. On top of that, the government can also use different media outlets in order to raise awareness of the benefits of work-life balance among its citizens.
How important are clothes and fashion to you?
Clothes and fashion are very important to me, primarily because they make me look nice and feel good about myself. Besides, they are essential to me because in my culture, people tend to judge others by the clothes or fashion styles they use, and I always like to be judged favorably.
What kind of clothes do you dislike?
I don't like polyester or synthetic clothes, mostly because they give me a rash and don't feel soft and comfortable enough. Besides, I don't really like to wear very revealing clothes because I find them to be degrading for a respectable person, be it a man or a woman.
How different are the clothes you wear now from the ones you wore 10 years ago?
The clothes that we wear today are certainly more stylish and affordable, most of the time, than the clothes we used to wear 10 years ago. But when it comes to quality, I think the clothes today are worse than what we used to wear a decade ago. Personally, I was much younger 10 years ago, so I wore dresses that were suitable for my age, and my parents most of the time chose those dresses for me. However, these days I buy dresses of my choice, and fashion and conform are two important aspects I look for when buying a new dress.
What do you think the clothes we wear say about us?
What a person chooses to wear tells a great deal about what kinds of values he or she carries and what kind of personality the person has. For example, a suit and tie wearing person tries to tell us that he is probably more successful and motivated than others. On the other hand, a short and tank top wearing person is probably casual and likes to go with the flow. But I do not decide if someone is really a good human being or not from his or her dress only.
Why do you think festivals are important events in the working year?
Festivals are important in the working year because they provide us with the opportunities to recuperate and recover from the burnout of our long and continuous work life. Besides, they also allow us to spend some quality time with our families, which is otherwise not possible to do if we work nonstop. Finally, festivals are also important because they help us revive our spirituality within us in order to purify our minds and souls if we are truly to live a peaceful and happy life.
Would you agree that the original significance of festivals is often lost today? Is it good or bad, do you think?
Well, it depends on what kinds of festivals we are talking about. If we are talking about some random festivals with no specific messages or meanings behind them, then there is apparently no significance to be lost. However, if we are talking about some religious festivals aimed at reviving us spiritually, then it is fair to suggest that the original significance is often lost today because we are not amending our mistakes and behavior while also becoming more and more materialistic and selfish for our own good. Such a pity.
Do you think that new festivals will be introduced in the future? What kind?
Well, given how so many people in our world want to diversify their methods of enjoying and having fun in their lives by creating an invisible boundary of pride and vanity around them, I wouldn't really be surprised if they come up with some new festivals in the future. But would these new festivals bring us together and unite us in some common good causes? Well, I doubt it, because they would probably be some festivals for the privileged only, carrying some peculiar and disturbing messages behind them in all likelihood, that sure makes other people uncomfortable, if not outright rejecting.
What role do the media play in festivals, do you think?
I guess that different electronic media and print media play an important role in making certain festivals, if not all, popular among the public mostly because of commercial reasons. For example, if certain media presents New Year Festival in a glamorous manner, it is doing so because it wants to help some companies promote and sell their products during that festival period. Of course, some media do try to talk about festivals and present them in a somber mood in order to help people understand their true appeal from time to time, but that's just not too common.
Do you think it's good or bad to watch festivals on TV? Why?
I think it is good, generally speaking, to watch festivals on TV if one wants to learn about them, as in how they are celebrated, what time of year they are celebrated, or for what reasons they are celebrated. And once people manage to find the answers to those questions, they usually learn to appreciate and respect the diversities within different cultures, religions, and lifestyles at the same time, which is certainly good for coexistence in an otherwise divided world.
How may globalization affect different festivals around the world?
Globalization has significant effects on different festivals around the world because it is helping these festivals become popular around the entire world. As a result, no matter in which part of this world people are celebrating certain festivals, the rest of the world is also catching up to it and wishing the celebrating people a very happy festival. Besides, because of this globalization, many festivals around the world, for better or worse, don't necessarily stick to the same age-old and traditional methods of celebration these days.
When you go shopping, do you prefer to pay for things in cash or by card?
I prefer to pay for things either by a debit card or credit card when shopping, primarily because it is more convenient to carry cards than carrying loads of cash in the wallet or pockets. Besides, I am not always sure if I'm carrying enough in case of using hard cash to pay with me when going shopping. But when I carry a card, I can feel secure that I would have enough money to pay for my shopping.
Do you ever save money to buy special things?
Yes, I do have to save up money to buy some special things when they are expensive, because I am not exactly one of those people with a huge income, which would allow me to buy special and expensive things randomly. Besides, I am not really very good at money management, and therefore I don't always have money readily available when going to buy any special things.
Would you ever take a job which had low pay? Why or why not?
Depending on what is considered to be low pay, I think I wouldn't mind going for a job with low pay if I feel that I have better job security and room for improvement there. Besides, I wouldn't mind if it's flexible with my holidays and vacation time.
Would winning a lot of money make a big difference to your life? Why or why not?
Yes, winning a lot of money would certainly make a big difference in my life because it would allow me to buy some tangible assets like a big house and a nice car. Besides, it would also significantly improve the quality of my life while allowing me to travel to some beautiful lands which I have always wanted to visit.
Why is it good to discuss problems with other people?
It is good to discuss problems with other people mainly because it allows us to release our built-up tensions and express our feelings, which in turn suddenly make problems seem easier. Besides, discussing problems with other people opens the door for many different ideas, views, and solutions to the problems instead of just one or only a few solutions. Finally, it also allows us to be knowledgeable about other possible problems and their solutions, which may come in handy in the future.
Do you think that it's better to talk to friends and not family about problems?
I think that it is better to talk to friends and also families about our problems, primarily because the more people we talk to, the greater is the chances to get ideas and solution suggestions. However, if I may add here, the family seems to be the people with whom we spend most of our time more often than not, and therefore they would be more emotionally attached to us. And because of this additional emotional attachment, the family would probably have more sympathy for us and our situation than friends. But again, while I have nothing against talking about problems with our friends, we should also talk about them with our families as well.
Is it always a good idea to tell lots of people about a problem?
In my humble opinion, it is not always a good idea to tell a lot of people about a problem, primarily because it would belittle us in the eyes of those people. Besides, not everybody is equipped with enough wisdom, experience, and intellectual capacity to understand the nature of our problems and then prescribe the appropriate solutions. Finally, it takes a lot of time and energy to discuss our problems with a lot of people, which actually, instead, could have been used to find solutions on our own.
Which communication skills are most important when taking part in meetings with colleagues?
When taking part in meetings with colleagues, one of the most important communication skills should be to explain everything in precise terms without becoming impatient and agitated. Besides, one should also be able to listen to others' points of view and ideas. Then, one should also make enough effort to make the colleagues know that what is being communicated is relevant to them. Finally, one should also offer constructive criticism in order to build and earn trust.
What are the possible effects of poor written communication skills at work?
Possible effects of poor communication skills, be it written or verbal at work, can lead to a lack of team cohesion, unclear and confusing messaging, wasted time and resources, damaged relationships, low employee morale, higher turnover rates, lost revenue, and even physical and psychological injuries. And once these effects are accumulated over time, they can bring down an entire company or organization. A simple message that leaves scopes for ambiguity can be devastating when shared with the team or the superiors in an office environment. It can also create distrust and confusion.
What do you think will be the future impact of technology on communication in the workplace?
I believe technology will drastically transform workplace communication by making it even faster, more efficient, and increasingly reliant on artificial intelligence. We're already seeing how tools like Slack, Microsoft Teams, and Zoom have replaced many traditional face-to-face interactions. In the future, AI-driven virtual assistants and real-time translation software will likely become mainstream, removing language barriers and allowing global teams to collaborate more seamlessly.
Are you happy to be the age you are now? Why or why not?
Yes, I sure am happy to be the age I am now, primarily because it has allowed me to understand about the world around me in a new light. In fact, as I actually come to think about it, I am so happy just to be alive, because life is a gift, no matter what age I really am.
When you were a child, did you think a lot about your future?
Not really. As a child, I was more focused on the present, playing with friends, watching cartoons, and doing schoolwork. I didn't fully understand what the future meant or what it involved. Of course, I had some dreams like becoming a pilot or an artist, but I didn't think seriously about career goals or adult responsibilities back then.
Do you think you have changed as you have gotten older?
Yes, I would like to think that I have changed significantly as I have grown older, and the priorities in life have changed, and so has the way I act and behave. Besides, I have also become more confident both physically and mentally about my life and future as I have grown older.
What will be different about your life in the future?
There possibly will be a couple of significant changes in my life in the near future. First, I will be moving to a bigger city for better employment opportunities in the future once I finish my studies. Besides, I am also planning to be more careful about my diet and physical health since I'm a bit thin for my age now. Moreover, after I have a job, I will probably get married a couple of years later and have my own children. This will change so many things and aspects of my lifestyle.
What's the best age for children to start computer lessons?
In my view, children should begin formal computer lessons around the age of 7 or 8. By that age, most kids have developed the cognitive skills needed to understand basic digital concepts without becoming overly dependent on screens. Introducing computer skills too early, say at age 3 or 4, can hinder their social and motor development. For example, in Finland, which has one of the world's most respected education systems, digital literacy is introduced gradually and only after children have built strong foundations in reading, writing, and critical thinking. This approach ensures that technology becomes a tool, not a distraction.
Do you think that schools should use more technology to help children learn?
Yes, I do believe that integrating more technology into classrooms can enhance learning, but it needs to be done thoughtfully. Technology can bring abstract concepts to life through animations, simulations, and interactive tools, which often lead to better engagement and retention. For example, science education, watching a virtual dissection or exploring 3D models of the solar system can make lessons far more vivid than textbook diagrams ever could. However, I also think it's vital to strike a balance. Overuse of screens may reduce attention spans or limit face-to-face interaction, which is crucial for developing social skills.
Do you agree or disagree that computers will replace teachers one day?
I strongly disagree with the idea that computers will ever fully replace teachers. While technology can deliver information efficiently and personalize learning to some extent, it cannot replicate the human elements of teaching, such as empathy, encouragement, or the ability to inspire and adapt to a student's emotional state. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, online learning platforms were essential, but most students and parents alike reported a significant drop in motivation and engagement without the presence of a real teacher. In my opinion, computers can support educators, but never substitute them.
How much has technology improved how we communicate with each other?
Technology has revolutionized the way we communicate with each other. With things like mobiles, smartphones, and computers, communication has become very easy, quick, and convenient. Besides, with internet technologies, today we can send a huge amount of data and information by using emails and other instant messenger services. Finally, we can also see each other live on video while talking to each other at the same time, even if we live in one corner of the world, courtesy of advanced modern technology.
Do you agree that there are still many more major technological innovations to be made?
Yes, I do agree with the suggestion that many more major technological innovations are yet to be made and invented, primarily because the world and its people are constantly facing challenges such as environmental pollution, lack of fuel energy, and drinking water crisis, which need immediate attention. Besides, even if we believe for a second that the world is facing no challenges, people would still come up with new ideas and discoveries because it's just in our human nature to improve on the existing condition in which we live.
Could you suggest some reasons why some people are deciding to reduce their use of technology?
Technology certainly has improved our lives, but unfortunately it is not without some of the negative effects, for which some people are deciding to reduce their use of technology. One such negative aspect is that technology is making us lethargic because we are not doing even simple things on our own. Besides, some people are also becoming alarmed, rightly or wrongly, about the radiation effects on human bodies, which are forcing them to reduce the use of technology. Finally, some people believe that the use of technology has detrimental effects on our environment, and they want to decrease the use of technology to minimize the negative effects.
What job would you like to have 10 years from now?
Europe is changing very fast, both economically and demographically, and therefore it is not really that easy to plan what kind of jobs I would like to have 10 years from now. However, seeing how the demand for technology jobs is increasing in the future, both in Europe and the rest of the world, I would like to take a job in the technology fields because it would hopefully offer better job safety.
How useful will English be for your future?
I believe that it is always advantageous to know a global language like English. Therefore, it will be highly useful for my future because I am planning to move to an English-speaking country for higher studies. Besides studies, English will surely help me communicate with people from other countries in my personal and professional life. Finally, knowing this language will help me read many books which are written only in English.
How much traveling do you hope to do in the future?
I am planning to travel to different places in my own country first because it is a very beautiful country and it has pretty much everything to offer. In the future, I hope I will be able to travel to other foreign countries because I should have more money and free time to spend after settling down with life and career. Well, if I get the chance, I'd like to travel to more than 100 countries across all the continents in the future to see the diversity of people's lifestyles, customs, food, and traditions.
How do you think your life will change in the future?
It is rather uncertain how my life will change in the future, but one thing is for sure, I will become very busy with my career because I want to have a secure financial future for myself and my family. I also want to move to a quieter place in the future, probably after 20 years or so, in order to enjoy a quiet life away from the hustling and bustling of busy city life.
What are the most popular types of children's books in your country?
Well, different children like to read different types of books depending on their ages and interests. It also depends largely on what kinds of languages are used to write those books. But from my experience, I would say that comics, funny short stories, comedy books, detective stories, and fairy tales are the most popular types of children's books in my country, no matter what language pattern is used to write those books, because all children in general like to laugh, get excited, and be happy. Books with funny and beautiful pictures, fantasy, fairy tales, and rhymes are also popular among children in my country.
What are the benefits of parents reading books to their children?
There are several benefits of parents reading books to their children. One of those major benefits is that it helps their children grow interest in reading from an early age. Secondly, it also helps ensure the cognitive development of their children in a very safe environment by teaching them about the world around them as well as improving their language skills and imagination. Finally, it helps parents create a very healthy and strong bond with their children, which would ultimately help those children become a very positive, resourceful, and happy person as an adult.
Should parents always let children choose the books they read?
No, parents shouldn't always let their children choose the books they read. Please understand that always is the operative adverb here. It is absolutely all right to let children choose what they like to read once in a while, but it shouldn't be the case always, because some books certainly are not appropriate for children because of their age-inappropriate language and other obscene contents like violence and graphic sex scenes. Besides, even if we think, for the sake of debate, that there is nothing wrong with a book as far as its contents are concerned, the chances are that the children just wouldn't be able to process the information in it in the same way as an adult would do, which could ultimately harm a child.
How popular are electronic books in your country?
Well, as far as I know, I don't really think that electronic books are that popular in my country as yet, because I can see most people, professionals and students around me today are still buying their books from their favorite bookstores and reading them on a fairly regular basis instead of actually using electronic books. Of course, we all read some electronic book here and there when working on the computers, or even read a few books on our ebook readers. But when it comes to serious reading, the majority of people in my country are still heavily reliant on printed books.
What are the advantages of parents reading electronic books compared to printed books to children?
I think there are some advantages of reading electronic books compared to printed books by parents to their children. The main advantage, of course, is that it is convenient to carry an electronic device that can hold many books at a time. Besides, reading electronic books can be more interactive in the sense that we can actually search any page or anything in a book almost instantaneously, and that will help parents answer some questions that children might have during this reading session. Finally, getting an electronic book can be far less time-consuming as we can get it on our device from the comfort of our home without ever running to a bookstore, while also paying the same or less price for it as the price of a printed book.
Will electronic books ever completely replace printed books in the future?
In my opinion, whether electronic books will completely replace printed books in the future will largely depend on how easy it will be for someone to access a computer or an e-reader. To tell the truth, there are still hundreds of millions of people in the world who don't have enough funds to pay for even a single meal or single printed book, and I don't really see all of them having access to a computer, the internet, or e-readers ever in the future. So the only option left for them is to read a printed book, which is far less expensive than an e-reader or computer. Moreover, the fascination of reading a printed book by rich and poor is something that we would not want to sacrifice that easily in the future.
Are there many animals or birds where you live?
Yes, we do have many animals and birds where I live, mainly because my country has great nature with many forests, trees, and lakes where birds and animals can live peacefully. Besides, we take aggressive and effective measures to ensure that animals and birds are able to maintain their natural habitats.
How often do you watch programs or read articles about wild animals?
Yes, I do watch such programs, especially on the Animal Planet TV channel, and read articles about wild animals frequently. It doesn't only allow me to appreciate the beauty and majesty of the unique nature around us, which I have never seen before, but also helps me remain in a more relaxed and comfortable state of mind.
Have you ever been to a zoo or a wildlife park?
Yes, I have gone to visit a zoo or wildlife park several times, mainly because it allowed me to remain close to Mother Nature. Besides, visiting a zoological garden or wildlife park allowed me to see new animals which I had no knowledge about before. Without being in a zoo or wildlife park, we cannot understand many activities of our favorite animals and birds, and that's why these places are so popular among people.
Would you like to have a job working with animals?
As much as I like to remain close to Mother Nature, I wouldn't exactly like to have a job that involves working with animals, mainly because it might put my health and life in danger, especially when working with large and ferocious animals. Of course, I wouldn't mind having a job that involves working with birds because they're adorable and virtually cause no harm to humans.
Why do some people find the internet addictive?
Many people find the internet addictive because there are just too many interesting things going on the internet. On the internet, people can buy and sell things, learn new skills, browse social media websites, play games, watch videos and movies, listen to music, chat with friends, make new friends, read interesting news or articles, and the list goes on and on. Besides, the greatest thing about the internet is that people can actually do all these things together with others. Now, how many things are there in this world that allow people to do so many things at the same time at a minimum cost? Moreover, for some people, the internet is an exit way from their reality, and that's why they are always online.
What would the world be like without the internet?
Honestly, the world would feel completely different without the internet. Daily life would be much slower, and we'd rely heavily on traditional forms of communication like phone calls or letters. Access to information would be limited, which would affect education, business, and even healthcare. People would probably interact more face-to-face, which could be a good thing, but it would also mean fewer global connections. Overall, while life might be simpler, it would definitely be less convenient and less connected.
Do you think that the way people use the internet may change in the future?
Yes, I definitely think the way people use the internet will change in the future. With the rise of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and smart devices, online experiences will likely become more immersive and personalized. People might rely less on traditional websites and more on voice assistants or wearable tech to access information. Also, as digital privacy becomes a bigger concern, the way we interact online may become more cautious and regulated. So while the internet will still be central to our lives, how we use it will continue to evolve with technology.
What are the ways that social media can be used for positive purposes?
Social media can be used in several ways for positive purposes. First, it can help us make friends and develop a better understanding of each other in a world full of hatred and animosity, even though we live a world apart from each other. Besides, social media can facilitate fast, personalized, and easy communication among friends and families no matter where we live in the world. Moreover, social media helps spread the news of suffering and distress among people very fast, since millions of people use social media every day so that we can take necessary steps to help the suffering people. Finally, businesses can promote their products on social media, while employers can find suitable candidates for their companies from social media websites.
Why do some individuals post highly negative comments about other people on social media?
Well, in my humble opinion, some people sometimes post highly negative comments about other people on social media primarily because they have low self-esteem and they are afraid to do it in public in real life. Besides, social media is a virtual world, and anybody can pretend to be anybody there to express their frustration and anger easily. Besides, communication and conversations on social media are not exactly strictly regulated the way it is on the print media, radio, and TV channels, which makes it even easier for people to post negative comments.